What up, sexy lovers? How's it going tonight? This is the Sex Mechanic Podcast, and I am your host, the Sex Mechanic, aka Jeanson Benoit, aka The Exception, aka Mr. Born to Explore, aka Confident Creator, aka I Did It My Way. And you're tuned in to the final, the last episode of 2021. And definitely a round of applause for everyone who's kind of been in it from the beginning and still, rocking with me as we, come into the new year. And also an applause for, or a round of applause for, for the fact that I've done it for this long. I'm very proud of the accomplishment, which you could look at as not much, but for me, it's kind of a big deal because I've gone most of the year podcasting, and this is something that again was talked about for years, but never really acted upon. So I'm thankful and definitely proud that I was able to do it, and it was definitely with the help of all of you and help of different people that came through on the podcast and helped me co-host. So yeah, it was a group and collective effort, but I'm thankful for that, and I'm proud of that accomplishment. So speaking of 2021, 2021 is what I want to give my appreciation to. I don't know if you can give appreciation for a year, but I'm giving appreciation today for 2021 because 2021 whooped my ass. All right. There were a lot of times of frustration, a lot of moments of kind of feeling lost, unmotivated, disinterested. And there were also times where I got, a lot of clarity. And usually it came from, some of those contrasting moments, of frustration and everything else. So 2021 was definitely a year of kind of like ups and downs, but the lows were, were lower than I'm used to. So um I thank 2021 for that because it's one of the things that birthed this podcast. This podcast came from a place of me wanting a space where I can speak freely about, kind of like my feelings and emotions regarding relationships and dating, and a place where maybe also other people can gain some type of insight from whatever I've experienced or whatever I'm experiencing. And it's also birthed, a lot of different creative um, directions that I've gone, or at least started to go this year. So I'm very thankful for 2021 just kind of showing me parts of myself that needed to be worked on. Really, that's what it comes down to. The frustration, the disappointment, all that other stuff came from me not living up to my highest potential for a lot of this year, or at least feeling like I wasn't living up to my highest potential for a lot of this year. So I needed that to help push me to the next level and kind of, get me to do stuff. I mean, we all need motivation. And mine in this case was a long time of discomfort, or long moments of discomfort throughout the year. So I'm thankful for it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But it also helped me out too, looking at myself as, kind of like looking at myself in the mirror through my romantic relationships. Even though I only had a couple romantic interests this year, but they've made an impact and they've definitely opened my eyes to different things that I want to do differently, and different things that I've started to work on already. And they've also influenced my goals for 2022, you know. So I want to know who's in the building, first of all, who's in the chat right now. And I also want to know what y'all are drinking or sipping on before we get into it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the video if you enjoy it and the other videos that I have on my YouTube channel. It definitely helps the channel out to get more subscribers. I'm still trying to get to 1,000. That will allow me to monetize my channel. And of course, that would be big, especially as I'm coming into the final week of my work of my at my job. I said of my work. At my I say 9 to 5, but it's actually, 8 to 6, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. But yeah, as that comes to a close, that chapter comes to an end, it'll be nice to, start making money off of the different streams of income that I've kind of created. So this is definitely one of them. The YouTube channel is one of them. So the more you support with your subscription and your your likes and comments, the better the channel goes. I mean, the further the channel goes, rather. All right, so nobody's in here drinking anything. Fair enough. It is Wednesday night, so I get it. I understand. But what are the goals romantically for the year 2022? What are some of the things that I'm looking forward to in 2022 in terms of romance? Rachel Dale says agua. Fair enough. I'm drinking that too, so I can't even judge. I would love to say, oh man, you should be drinking something else, but do you? Water is good for you. It's good for the body and it's good for the mind. So no complaints there. I'm gonna put that comment up so people actually see what Rachel Dale said. All right, so romantic goals or romance goals for 2022. For one, I want to do my best to practice unconditional love with whoever I'm with, and that is extremely difficult for us as human beings because I don't know if we realize it, but we're very conditional beings. Like we definitely require things from ourselves and require things from others in order to act or behave a certain way to others. So a lot of times you want to love somebody unconditionally, but when they show you something that you don't like, it's really hard to stay in that place of unconditional love. Sometimes we get out of that based on another person's behavior. So I really want to do my best to just kind of minimize the amount of requirements that I have for my partner, like minimize what it is that they need to be or how they need to act in order for us to move forward or for us to have success in our relationship. That doesn't mean not to have any standards or any expectations, but the expectation part sometimes can get a little tricky because your expectations are based on your overall vision or your overall desire of what you want in your relationship. The only problem is, like I talked about, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, sometimes the how of getting to that, that vision is where we get tripped up because we also have a vision of how we want it to happen. And sometimes it don't happen how we want it to happen. It just, you got to trust the process and trust that, you're going to get to where you're trying to go. As long as you're leading with love. And in this case, me trying to lead with unconditional love, which most people don't even know how that feels or what that's like because we are so conditional. So, yeah, that's going to be an attempt of mine. And we'll see how that turns out. But I'm pretty confident about it. It's not going to be an easy process. You're dealing with other personalities. You're dealing with people that have their own stuff coming in to a situation. So as much as you like to um, just have a smooth and easy transition into this like whole unconditional thing, there's going to be a lot of things that you have to recondition your mind to think. Um, a lot of things that we've been taught, and a lot of ways about us that we've grown up with, that we're going to have to either reverse or think differently about. And that's not easy. That's change. So 2022 is basically the beginning of unconditional love in my romances, and also, in other relationships as well. We'll see how that goes, though. It's only the beginning. All right. So the second one. This second one is really big for me, right? This is something that in my last serious relationship, I I really had an issue with, and I mean that ended in 2014. So I thought over these years, like I've kind of gotten over it. I've gotten past it, and I've worked through a lot of the issues that you know that I kind of ran into with it. And what that is losing myself in a relationship because my attention and my focus shifts from me to either the relationship as a whole or the other person in the relationship, or both. But I take the attention and the focus off of myself, and I become selfless in the relationship, even to the detriment of my own, my own needs and my own well being. And that's not good. That's, I mean, I don't like using the words good and bad. It's not healthy for you, especially if you're somebody who is on a journey of self growth. Kind of, we all are on self growth journeys, whether we know it or not. But if you're on a conscious self growth journey, as I would say I am, it really stifles your growth when you take the focus off yourself and your growth and put it on someone else or on a relationship. And that's one of the ways that people lose themselves, because then they, at some point, they just totally neglect their own needs and their own desires in order to focus on something else. Now, I'm not saying don't focus on the relationship or the other person at all. Obviously, that probably wouldn't work out if you tried that. But you definitely want to make sure that you're fulfilled and you're filled up to some degree before trying to spread yourself out to the relationship and the person you're with. So it's like I've mentioned before, the analogy I've used before, putting on your mask before you help somebody else with their mask, in the event of the oxygen mask coming down on a plane. Um, yeah, so it, it, it's a tricky situation, right? Because we're taught that we need to be selfless in situations like that, in relationships. And your goal in a relationship is to make the person you're with happy, and make them feel all kind of stuff. But in reality, the way I'm looking at it is, my goal is to reach my happy place, and hopefully the person I'm with can join me, and they can do that while on the way to their own happy place or already in their happy place. But the idea that we're we're there to make each other feel a certain way is a dangerous way to think about it, because no person is able to hold that space all the time. Even if you can do it sometimes, there's going to be times where you're not going to be able to provide that level of happiness or joy or fulfillment for that person, because that comes from within. That definitely is something that comes from within. And if someone is searching for that in somebody else, they're going to be disappointed a lot of times, because you're going to notice that human beings uh I wouldn't even call it shortcomings, but we have these things about us where we're not really made to consistently be able to make somebody else feel something else or even hold a space for someone else because we're human. And so we go through things personally as well. We might have up days and down days. And with the down days, you probably can't expect that person to be what you need them to be for you because they need to put that attention on themselves or, you know, they just don't have the energy to put it towards you in that way. So it's really just an exercise in 2022 for me of keeping that focus on me first and then allowing that partner of mine to come along with me, come along the ride with me. And I noticed that because there were a couple situations this year where, and this is over my lifetime, I look back and I see where it's happened. There were a couple situations this year where I, started to get interested in somebody, and then I don't completely abandon the focus on myself. I still focus on myself somewhat, but I definitely shift my focus or some of the focus from me onto that person. And the way it should be to me is more like I continue on whatever journey I'm on and I continue with the type of focus and attention that I've been giving to myself. And then other people come along with me. It's kind of like when you go to, I don't know how many of y'all have actually done this, but I've done this several times where I go out to an event, to a club or something like that, right? Nobody's dancing on the dance floor. Nobody. It's dead. The music is on point, but people are scared to get in. I make it a point to get on the dance floor and, start doing my thing, having fun, enjoying myself, not really expecting or bringing anybody else into the fold, just putting the focus and attention on me having a good time and me being happy. And that most of the time starts kind of like other people, that starts the feeling of other people feeling comfortable to get on the dance floor and have a good time too. And then what that also does too is it attracts people to you. It makes you very, very attractive when you're in a happy space, when you're in a positive space like that, because people want to be around that. People want to be a part of that. People want to feel good the way you look like you're feeling good. And so you're a lot more of an attractive person too when you're in your own alignment, I guess you could call it, when you're in your own happy space. So definitely, if that could help other people as well, try to do that for yourself in your relationships. But I know me as a pleaser, it's been an issue, over and over again where, I'll just shift my attention from me to them. And now it's either all about them or mostly about them and a little bit about me. And in the background, I'm not growing at the pace that I'd like to. And I'm not, finding that inner peace and that inner joy that I want to. But I'm definitely helping them do that. So yeah, it becomes a very unbalanced situation. So if you all can maybe take that as well and use that, please do. But I'm definitely going to focus on not doing that in 2022 or doing that less and eventually getting over that completely. But it's a process. So 2022 is the beginning of that process. All right, the third thing is being more flexible and open to building a relationship as a like building a relationship with a strong foundation as opposed to wanting something that's already set up and easy and kind of already smooth. Like I've had a vision over time, over a lot of my adult life in terms of how I wanted my relationship to begin, and I wanted it to begin in a very, very just easy way, like just come together, No real issues in terms of things that we have to work out. Um, Obviously, there would be, some struggle along the way, but the bigger issues wouldn't be issues. They would be already taken care of, like they would already be settled. Any kind of disagreements that maybe could have come about would have already been uh, would have been resolved before we even met somehow. That was my thinking. And not to say that that can't happen. I'm sure there's people that kind of, have that whole love at first sight thing when they just kind of like fall into it immediately and there's like a perfect match and a perfect, kind of like mixing and melding of uh of the two people automatically. But I'm more open and willing this upcoming year to it being a different way. Oh, forgive me. Hold on. I done lost my thing. Oh, that's what I was trying to do. Yeah, I'm more open to building it from the ground up. So I would compare it to, instead of looking for a home that's already built, already, been up for, let's say, 10 years or whatever the case may be. I'm looking to build a new home from the ground up now. Like I'm open to that idea. And that's an idea that I never really uh, was open to. I mean, for a long time, again, I felt like the relationship I wanted to get in was one that just kind of came together automatically. And there weren't a lot of issues that I had to work on in the beginning. There would be issues that we would have to work on throughout. But in the beginning, it would be super easy, super cool, super smooth. And, we could kind of just cruise into uh, kind of the harder and more difficult conversations and difficult uh, things that we need to resolve. But now I'm just looking at it like, building a foundation. In order to build that foundation, it's got to be really strong and it's got to be able to withstand a lot of force, a lot of impact, a lot of weight. And so that actually is the most important part in terms of building a relationship, is building the foundation of it. That way, once other things come into the mix and into the fold, you know that the foundation is strong enough to withstand and hold that weight of whatever happens in the relationship. So that's, for 2022, I'm definitely open to doing that now. And I'm also open to the fact of like, all right, it's more about the person that I'm doing that with as opposed to uh these like special feelings that I feel about a person. So maybe on my first episode, I think it was, of the podcast, I talked about how I have this idea about relationships and how it's supposed to come together for me, right? I'm supposed to get these butterfly feelings and all these special effects internally when I meet somebody that I feel like is going to be someone that I spend a long portion of my life with. And now I'm looking at it like I don't necessarily get, all the special effects on the inside. However, I know that the feeling of ease and the feeling of comfort and the feeling of kind of like support are important parts of being with somebody and uh, being with whoever I'm with. So if I get those feelings and I feel like the person has a lot of things that match with, kind of what I need and what I look for, then we could work on the other stuff. Like if we're willing to, we could work on the other stuff. So my whole idea about that has kind of like flipped a little bit. Not flipped a little bit, flipped a lot since it's just the beginning of this year. And so going into 2022, I'm definitely looking at it in a little bit different way. I keep looking at my notes to make sure I didn't leave anything out. And you know, a good thing about that is when you go into a situation where it's not like super easy and super smooth and stuff from the beginning, it helps me at least to see different things about myself. It kind of serves as a mirror so that I can get a reflection of kind of like what I'm doing or what I'm not doing, and maybe what I need to do more of, what I need to do less of. And it's a really good way to continue that growth pattern. You know, like it's to me, it's one of the fastest ways to continue growth is entering into relationships with an open mind. Um, when you do that, you allow yourself to receive some criticism, and receive some feedback, and you can either take it and take it as truth and work on it, or you don't have to, but at least you're getting different different perspectives about you outside of your own perspective, because sometimes our self-reflection isn't as accurate as we'd like it to be. And once you're with somebody else, they can give you a little bit more of a better assessment of what you're doing or how you're doing things or whatever the case may be. And maybe too, when you're by yourself, you don't have the opportunity to really practice and see how you would be in certain situations. I mean, I thought, for example, um, I felt jealousy recently, right? And for me, I was like, oh, I thought I was over that shit. Like, I thought like it was something that okay, I could feel, but I'd get over it pretty quickly. And it lasted longer than I wanted it to. And so I had to really dive in, and I really had to look at, all right, what's causing this and what's behind it. But that wouldn't have occurred if there wasn't somebody else to uh I guess to invoke that jealousy, because if it's just me and I'm not dating anybody and I'm not doing anything with anybody or in any kind of situation, then, what is it to be jealous about? It's literally just me. There's really no way to practice or put yourself in that position to see if, how you react or how you'll be. And so I'm glad I had that situation happen, because I was able to really look at what's behind it and ask myself like why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And I got down to some answers. I don't know what it is, but like this year, um, at least towards like maybe from April on, I've really felt more desire to grow and to just become the best version of myself. I think I've always been like that, but I feel like this year in particular, because of the ups and downs, I've been more compelled to reach higher heights and reach new levels. And so these type of interactions now, I look at them, even though they're unpleasant at the moment, I'm really thankful for them though, because it really allows me to like, all right, it's almost like, you know, if you're an athlete and you're playing a game or whatever the case may be, the times that you lose, you're able to learn a lot from those losses. And some people say you're able to learn more from the losses than you do from your wins. And I could really see how people see that, because now you can say, all right, we lost this game, right? We could go to the drawing board and see what we did wrong, what we can improve on. And that keeps you getting better and better, for the next situation. So yeah, that whole thing about like, just kind of like building something from the ground up, even though it can pose some challenges sometimes, I think that sometimes the challenges are good. And sometimes the challenges bring the best out of us and bring the better version of ourselves out as well. So don't necessarily be closed minded or closed off to the idea of starting off a situation or a relationship that isn't exactly perfect. Because if you're with somebody, again, if you're with somebody who's willing to get to whatever the goal is that you both have, um, or that you all have, then you're already in there. If you're with somebody who's willing, then things don't have to necessarily be where they're going to be in the very beginning. Not only that, you kind of need something to strive towards anyway. You don't want to necessarily have everything already laid out and perfect from the beginning. Like, where do you go from there? Like, you got to have something to move towards. You got to have some goals to move towards. You don't have to, but it definitely helps to have some goals and some direction, as opposed to just kind of like being comfortable and cruising. Cruising can get boring, and boredom can cause a lot of other issues as well. So yeah, it's nice to have goals to reach, and want to reach those levels together within the relationship. That's pretty much all I got. I only got 3 of them. But those are 3 really important and powerful ones for me. Um 2021. Man, it's been a year. It has been a year. I'd love to hear from some people in the chat to hear what you've maybe learned about yourself in 2021, either romantically or otherwise, and maybe what you're looking forward to for 2022 in your romance or just in your personal life. While I sip on this agua. Oh, by the way, I gotta commend people who have like full-time jobs and then are also podcasting and also doing all kind of other stuff, because this shit is hard. Going on maybe 4 to 5 hours of sleep today, and getting up and making sure. I'm just glad this is the last week I have to do it like this, to be honest. It's a lot easier to do the podcast when I wasn't working the night before. Let me just say that. But yeah, I definitely, hats off to people who work multiple jobs and have side hustles and all that other stuff at the same time. Yeah, I really, y'all doing y'all thing. Congrats on that. Shit is tough. Come on, people in the chat. Rachel and whoever else might be in there. What do y'all think? What are some things that maybe you've learned about yourself in 2021? SG, all right. Welcome, SG. Definitely. Oh, let me actually put that in so people can see. SG says, definitely being a little more selfish in my relationship. You PP. Sorry, I'm not up on all the short uh what do you call them? I just had a brain fart. I'm not up on all the text lingo. In 2021. All right, cool. Definitely being a little more selfish in my relationship in 2021. In 2022. I'm sorry. That's my mistake. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I feel like that's something a lot of people deal with, not just me, in terms of becoming like almost complete, not completely selfless, but just kind of like putting your needs and your desires to the side, and really focusing on your partner or the relationship itself. And it's tough because when you're with somebody for a while, it's really hard to find yourself in a sense, because you've changed also over the years. You try to reach back and look for that same person that you were when you first started the relationship, but you can't find that person either, because that person is probably not there anymore. After like 6 7 years, 1 or 2 children, people definitely change. People's needs change, people's people's wants might change a little bit. Their priorities are a little different. And even personalities over time, people change in their personalities as well a little bit. So, um, yeah, once you get deep into a relationship, it's really easy to get lost to where you have no direction, you have no sense of who you are anymore. So yeah, if you can shift your focus during your time at any point in the relationship, back to you a little bit more, if you feel like it's a little lopsided, I would definitely recommend that, because I think you'll be in a space that maybe you haven't experienced in a while, maybe since early on in the relationship, or maybe even before the relationship. But yeah, be in your happy place and let people come and join you in your happy place, as opposed to uh using someone else to be in that happy place, because I'm telling you, that's going to fail at some point. Even if you're with the most consistent person, that eventually is going to fail, because people are going to disappoint people when they have certain expectations placed upon people. People can only do so much to please others. At some point, we got to be a little selfish. Anybody else got anything to add? Thank you so much, SG, for that comment. I appreciate it. Oh, how do y'all like this blurred background I got going on? This is off topic, but trying something different on StreamYard, since it's got, some different little tricks and stuff I could play with. Different settings I could play with. So I was just kind of seeing how the blurred background looks. I kind of like it with the whole like fire in the background, or the candle in the background, like flickering and moving in the blur. I'm feeling that. Hello, is anybody out there? Yeah, I done went silent in the chat, huh? For the last episode of 2021. Y'all probably busy. I understand. Y'all getting stuff done before the new year. New Year's, not New Year's, but the end of the year is a very busy time for people. It's an extremely stressful time for some people, especially when it comes to travel and all kind of other stuff. So I'm fucking with you. I'm really not stressing out. Rachel Dale has a comment. Rachel Dale says, 1, trust your intuition. 2, never get comfortable with comfort. And 3, closed mouths don't get fed. Those are some good lessons that you learned this year. Yeah, I really love the first one, especially. I actually struggle with the third one also, with the closed mouths don't get fed. I'm somebody who doesn't always speak their desires out loud, because there's a part of me that feels like, well, it's up to me to get my desires taken care of. It has nothing to do with anybody else. But sometimes you have to ask or tell people what it is that you need, and they can decide for themselves if they want to provide it for you, or if they want to help you get to that goal. But you have to give them the chance by letting them know what you need. People can't read minds, and people don't know automatically what it is that you want or need. So um, I love that one as well. Number 3 is important, and maybe there's a lot of other people that struggle with that as well. But all 3 of those are really good. I like them. Trust your intuition. I'm trying to get back to that. That's what got me to California, and I don't want to forget what I followed, to get to where I'm at right now. And most of it has been intuitive hits. And so I don't want to forget that going into 2022 either. Thank you, Rachel, for that. I appreciate it. SG says, I like number 3 at Rachel. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Number 3 is a good one. A really good one. That's even at like work. That can go across a lot of different parts of your life, from your career to your personal relationships to, you know, it it really makes a difference when you're able to vocalize what it is you need or want. And again, allow people around you to either help you in getting it or maybe they won't. But at least you put it out there and now, you're more empowered in terms of what you want to do at that moment, how you want to act or how you want to go about getting what it is you're trying to get. But I love that one for sure. It's gotten some people, um, you know, better positions in their careers. Uh, some people I know this year, so I'm really happy that that's something that other people can hopefully see, take, and run with going into 2022. Oh man, Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, 2021 was definitely something, a year to remember. I thought 2020 was the year that was like, oh man, this is the year to remember. But 2021 came in and just said, "Oh, you think that was something? Watch this." That's kind of how 2021 was. From from me struggling to kind of like figure out how to make it when I was off of work for 5 months. It was voluntary, but I was off of work for the first 5 months, and the first couple months were kind of difficult to kind of navigate because I didn't have as much money as I usually did. I didn't have those same paychecks coming in, and so I had to really navigate how I was going to make it and still enjoy life and enjoy um, parts of my life that I found important to me. And once I got that, that was nice. But then they called me back to work in May unexpectedly. And that lit a new fire that was just like, oh man, they could really like just call me back, even though I was expecting to come back, or I wasn't expecting to come back until October of this year. I knew that they could call me back early, but I didn't expect it. So once they did, it was kind of like a really big disappointment, but that just kind of like was the springboard. It helped me save. Um, it helped me really just kind of like get some more direction in terms of setting up different streams of income that still have not produced income yet, but I've created the streams now. And so I just need to, market and do other things that actually will bring money in for them. But yeah. And then it also gave me the courage to say that I'm going to leave by the end of the year. In this case, it's the beginning of the year, but the beginning of the next year, but it's pretty close to the end of the year. So yeah, sometimes shit just got to happen in life. And 2021 was a year where um, I was pushed. I don't know if others can say the same thing, but I was pushed to do certain things that are out of my comfort zone, and I appreciate it. I definitely do. I'm thankful for it. In the coming weeks, I'm probably going to take a week or two off from podcasting. So the first couple of weeks in 2022, you won't hear from me. But if you follow me on IG at thesexmechanic.com, I said .com, not .com, at thesexmechanic, then you can still keep up with what's going on in my life and with the Sex Mechanic brand as well. But I want to say a big, big, big thanks to everyone who has even been on the podcast once, in the chat, watching, listening. I appreciate you all. You're the reason why, honestly, you're a big reason why I continue doing it. Because if nobody was watching and nobody was entertaining this podcast, then, at some point I would just be like, all right, well, it's not really uh, reaching anybody and it's not really making any kind of impact. Um, and I probably would stop. So I appreciate you all. I thank you for sticking with me through 2021. And hopefully you've had a year where you feel like you've come out, on top, or you've come out better than when you came into 2021. And you're going into 2022 with a lot of promise, a lot of faith in everything that's going to happen for you, and just feeling good about the new year. Um, New Year usually is around that time is usually a time of reflection, and also a time of just reiterating your desires and really putting it out in the universe what it is that you want in life. So hopefully you're doing that. And yeah, thank you all. This was episode number 32 of the Sex Mechanic podcast. I am your host, the Sex Mechanic, and I'll see you all in a couple of weeks. All right. Peace.